What's going on, my fellow Jedi and Padawans? Welcome back to another Jedi gaming video. Thank you guys so much for coming back to the channel, and if you guys are new, welcome. Today we're going to be continuing our series on weapons to bring into Lightfall with us, extending into the legendary heavy slot today, going over 7 beautiful weapons that I think will help you guys inside of that legendary campaign and start you guys ahead of the curve. So first off, right here we have Bump in the Night rocket that is Stasis Burn. Now this thing has been going around the Destiny community as one of the highest DPS weapons inside of the game, especially when you pair it with one Gjallarhorn, so it gets Wolfpack rounds as well. Part of the reason of that is Chill Clip having this on. I haven't been able to craft this fully, which I will be using Chill Clip with Impact Casing in this slot. So definitely a juicy weapon for DPS. I will be crafting it fully and doing those enhanced perks before Lightfall for sure. So get to crafting this bad boy. A little tricky to get. You have to do those nightmare containments on the moon inside of the Dialect Leviathan. You can focus it at the helm as well. Next off right here, we got the Fire and Forget linear fusion rifle that is Stasis Burn from Season of the Seraph. Now, I just got mine fully leveled up to 17, and I will be crafting Vorpal Weapon 4th times the charm in these 2 slots, so it is an absolute juicer for damage. You're getting your bullets back based on 4th times the charm, that nice 10% damage buff for those shots against bosses. So this thing is my go-to linear stasis fusion rifle right now. Even instead of Reed's Regret, I think that the triple burst, 3-round burst, hits a little bit harder and does more damage. Plus with the combination of having Vest Stinger in here, so we can get that automatic reload on shots, it is very juicy for DPS, and definitely suggest crafting it this season and getting this thing in prep for Lightfall. Next on the list right here, we're going with the Cataclysmic linear fusion rifle that is gnarly from the Vow of the Disciple because of its bait and switch perk. Now this is that precision frame, so it is a little longer range with this weapon, but having the ability to hit a target with Wither Horde, your SMG, and then juice damage with bait and switch by dealing damage with those other weapons, you do some pretty gnarly damage for quite a long time. Plus you're getting ammo back because of 4th times the charm, just like we would put on Fire and Forget. So this thing also the king of DPS inside of linear fusions, even though they are going to get a baby nerf coming up in the future in the sandbox. I do think that this will still be used pretty heavily inside of the PvE realm and that endgame activities. Next on the list right here, we have the Hothead Arc Rocket. Now this thing is the Adept version, came from Nightfalls in the past seasons. It's not in the loot pool anymore, but I know a lot of people have them laying around. Whether it's the normal version or the Adept version doesn't really matter in my personal opinion. The only difference is that Adept Big Ones is kinda nice for the Adept version, but having Explosive Light Demolitionist would be my other option for this perk, but I do love tracking and impact casing. This is my god roll right here. Wish I had Demolitionist so I could throw my grenade to reload this weapon for a little faster DPS, but field prep in all seriousness when you're crouched is the fastest reload for rockets in general when you have this on instead of Demolitionist, which is instant. But on the other hand, this just when you actually have to do the reload animation, field prep is the best. Explosive Light when you're standing in a well of radiance, you get those orbs on a well pop, so this thing is absolutely gnarly for DPS, just like the Chill Clip Bump in the Night, taking it in, actually pairing it with Gjallarhorn, getting those Wolfpack rounds as well. So this thing very essential for that endgame activities for your heavies. Next on my list might be a little controversial to some people, but it is the Chain of Command Stasis Machine Gun. I absolutely love this weapon. Was a seasonal reward from doing that Gambit, Crucible, Vanguard strikes, all of that from a couple seasons ago, but we have the combination of some pretty crazy perks. So first off, we have Osmosis here. So when we use a grenade ability, it changes the weapon's damage type to match your subclass. So for match game, which is going away anyways, you could throw this and melt a shield of arc, solar, void, whatever it was. That worked very well, and you had adaptive munitions on top of that anyways, so this weapon adapts to damage output and effectiveness against energy shields that don't match the stasis type. So basically every other shield that we have in the game was able to be broken with this very easily with adaptive munitions. On top of that, we had the option to go with Demolitionist and Adrenaline Junkie, so we got damage increase from defeats with the weapon or with grenade defeats, and we got grenades back fast with Demolitionist, so it's a nice little perpetual feedback loop between Adrenaline Junkie and Demolitionist here. So I personally love this weapon and take it into a lot of endgame activities with me when I'm not using linear fusions or rockets. So this thing juice and pairs very, very well in the PvE realm with any build in my personal opinion. Next on our list is our only legendary sword and sword in general besides the Lament on our list. We're going with the Falling Guillotine Void Sword. Now this thing was juiced in the day when it first came out. Swords got a little nerf and this in general, but this thing is still very, very good for a legendary sword. Definitely the best for DPS in my personal opinion for that legendary slot. So we have Relentless Strike and Whirlwind Blade paired with Jagged Edge that make this very, very juicy in the DPS category, and with being able to block with it, if you use it like that, you can stop a lot of that damage, but launching that heavy attack is stronger with full energy. So this thing juices DPS on bosses, whatever it may be, going into some of the old dungeons that we used to do. Zulamak, very easy in Pit of Heresy with this sword, and a lot of others. So definitely if you have one of these laying around in your vault or anything like that, Banshee Zer starts to sell one, definitely snag this weapon. And last but not least, we're going with the Wendigo GL3. I know that this is the sunset version, but obviously I don't have the adept version from Nightfalls yet. That'll be in a couple weeks, but that's definitely what I'm bringing in with me. This thing right here was my baby back in the day with explosive light, auto loading, blinding. I absolutely loved this grenade launcher, and now that it's back with that new perk called Cascade Points, so you get a defeat with another weapon and it increases the fire rate of this weapon, so you can shoot so fast with that grenade launcher with spike grenades and do some crazy damage on bosses. So this thing is coming with me. I will throw a little update on the channel with a short and a video going over the adept version of this grenade launcher, because I do think it is going to be absolutely gnarly inside of Lightfall and in general. So those for me are my heavies that I'm bringing in with me for the legendary slots for Lightfall and going through that campaign, whatever it may be, starting a little ahead of the curve. So thank you guys again for watching. I truly appreciate it. I'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace.